In the swirling currents of European history, where empires rose and fell, there lies a bold chapter that would forever change the landscape of warfare. Before the age of digital currencies and global sanctions, there was a moment, a groundbreaking pivot, where economic might was wielded as a weapon, not in the trading hubs of today, but on the battlegrounds of old Europe. Welcome to the saga of the Continental System, the first colossal economic embargo in European history that echoed the tactics of modern-day warfare. Dive with us into Ages in Motion, as we unravel how Napoleon's audacious strategy became the blueprint for economic battles to come. In the turbulent era of the early 19th century, the fiery rivalry between Britain and France took a dramatic turn. The two titans, historically locked in a ceaseless dance of power, found themselves embroiled in yet another intense clash, but this time, the battlefield was not just land or sea, but trade. Britain, with its invincible navy, loomed large over Europe's waters, rendering France's attempts to confront them head-on a daunting task. Yet, for all of Britain's naval might, its Achilles heel lay in its deep-rooted dependence on trade, especially with its European neighbors. Napoleon Bonaparte, ever the astute strategist, recognized this vulnerability. In 1806, Napoleon unfurled his masterstroke, the Continental System, also known as the Continental Blockade. Rather than direct military confrontation, he aimed to cripple Britain from within. By imposing an embargo on British goods, he intended to sever the economic arteries that fueled Britain's heart, thereby forcing it into a position of weakness and, he hoped, to sue for peace on terms favorable to France. This audacious plan wasn't just about warfare, it was a calculated move in the intricate chess game of European geopolitics, leveraging commerce as a weapon to tilt the scales in France's favor. As the flames of the Napoleonic Wars consumed Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte sought not only military dominance but economic supremacy. It was against this tumultuous backdrop that he initiated his grand economic maneuver, the Continental System. Its birth can be traced back to November 1806, with the proclamation of the Berlin Decree. Through this edict, Napoleon didn't merely introduce the blockade, he effectively drew a line in the sand, declaring economic warfare against Britain. But the Berlin Decree was only the opening gambit in this high-stakes game of economic chess. Napoleon, always the strategist, quickly moved to reinforce and amplify his blockade. A year later, in 1807, the Milan Decree was issued, further tightening the noose around British trade. This new decree carried with it a sense of stark finality and peril. Any vessel that dared to dock in British ports or even suffer the misfortune of being inspected by British officials was deemed contaminated. The fate awaiting such ships was severe. Upon reaching their next European destination, they were to be confiscated, a symbol of the stringent and uncompromising nature of Napoleon's blockade. Each decree, layered upon the previous, served to strengthen the Continental System's grip, aiming to suffocate Britain's economic lifeline and alter the course of the long-standing rivalry between these two colossal powers. In the tumultuous landscape of early 19th century Europe, Napoleon's Continental System was an audacious play, directly targeting the economic heart of Britain. As the blockade's reach extended across the continent, its effects rippled out, touching every corner of Europe in unpredictable ways. Britain, long used to its ports humming with activity, felt the blockade's tightening grip. Commerce waned, economic hardships rose, and the streets of London murmured with concern. Yet, the British, ever resourceful, turned their gaze to new horizons, seeking alternative markets and partners to mitigate the blockade's impact. The vast and varied European coastline presented a logistical nightmare for Napoleon's embargo. From the icy fjords of Scandinavia to the balmy beaches of the Mediterranean, smuggling transformed from a shadowy enterprise into a thriving industry. The very waters that were meant to be barriers became highways for illicit goods, illustrating the immense challenge of enforcing the blockade. For France, the architect of this grand strategy, the results were bittersweet. On one hand, French industries saw a surge, no longer overshadowed by British competition. Towns and cities experienced a revival of local craftsmanship, and there was an air of economic optimism. Yet, this was countered by rising prices and shortages, as the vast British market, a former lucrative trading partner, was now off limits. Moreover, the widespread smuggling meant that British goods still found their way into French homes, often at a premium, making the common French citizen bear the brunt of the blockade's unintended consequences. Nations nestled under Napoleon's wings faced their own set of challenges. Regions with deep-seated trade ties to Britain, like the Netherlands, faced economic strain. Beyond just the tangible loss of commerce, there was a simmering undercurrent of resentment against the enforced restrictions. Beyond the shadows of the French Empire, countries like Portugal chose bold defiance over compliance, leading to intense confrontations like the Peninsular War. At the same time, nations on the periphery, neither fully aligned with France nor Britain, found themselves adjusting sails to the changing winds of commerce, often finding lucrative opportunities amidst the chaos. The Continental System, in its ambition and scope, became more than just an economic policy. It epitomized the era's intricate dance of power, national interests, and the enduring resilience of nations and people. Amid the great chess game of early 19th century geopolitics, while Napoleon's Continental System posed an economic challenge for many nations, it was Russia's discontent that set the stage for a dramatic confrontation. The vast Russian landscape, with its sprawling territories and diverse economic needs, grew increasingly restive under the constraints of the embargo. For the Tsarist regime, the system was not only an economic shackle but also a symbol of French dominance and interference. As murmurs of Russia's lax enforcement of the Continental System reached Napoleon, tensions escalated. This growing rift wasn't just about trade but a challenge to Napoleon's authority and vision for a Europe under French hegemony. Determined to bring Russia to heel and enforce compliance, Napoleon embarked on one of the most audacious military campaigns in history, the 1812 Russian campaign. But Russia, with its vast expanse and harsh climates, would prove to be an unforgiving battleground. The invasion saw the Grand Armée march confidently into the Russian heartland, only to be met with a combination of scorched earth tactics and the biting Russian winter. What began as a mission of enforcement soon turned into a desperate fight for survival. This ill-fated campaign not only decimated Napoleon's forces but also became a symbol of his overreach and the limits of his power. By 1814, the ripple effects of this catastrophic campaign were evident across Europe. With Napoleon's once seemingly invincible power now clearly on the wane, the Continental System, that grand economic experiment, began to crumble. As regions across the continent reasserted their economic independence, the embargo's edifice collapsed, marking not just the end of a policy but also signaling the twilight of the Napoleonic era. In the annals of history, Napoleon's Continental System stands as a testament to the audacity of using economic levers as instruments of war. Its inception, rise, and eventual fall provide invaluable insights into the multifaceted nature of geopolitics and commerce, forever shaping the way future generations would perceive economic warfare. At its core, the Continental System was a grand experiment, illuminating the tremendous challenges associated with imposing and maintaining a large-scale economic embargo. It underscored the intricate balance required to manipulate trade for political gains, revealing both the tantalizing promise and the inherent pitfalls of such endeavors. This blockade was not just a strategic move against Britain, it was a masterclass in the strengths and weaknesses of wielding economic power. Economically, the system's effects were profound and varied. One of the most tangible impacts was seen in the realm of textiles. With British textiles, a pinnacle of the Industrial Revolution, absent from the markets, a vacuum was created. This void catalyzed the growth and development of textile industries in parts of Europe previously overshadowed by British dominance. Regions began to innovate and adapt, heralding a renaissance of local craftsmanship and industry. Fast forward to contemporary times, and the echoes of the Continental System can be discerned in modern economic sanctions and blockades. The challenges Napoleon faced in enforcing the embargo, the rise of alternative markets, and the unintended consequences are themes that resonate even today, serving as cautionary tales for modern statesmen and policymakers. In retrospect, while Napoleon's Continental System was undeniably a stroke of strategic genius, aiming to exploit Britain's Achilles heel, its trajectory serves as a potent reminder. It illustrates that, in the intricate dance of global politics and economics, even the most well-crafted strategies can face unexpected challenges. This saga of economic warfare, ambition, and realpolitik underlines the ever-present complexities that nations grapple with when intertwining economics with international conflict. If you found this story captivating and want to dive deeper into the ebb and flow of history, Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Ages in Motion for more insightful tales from our shared past. Remember, history is not just a series of events, it's a dance of ages in motion. Until next time, keep the wheels of time turning.